Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the match between Bayern Munich and FC Barcelona. The tensions are building. There are tensions being built between the clubs, tensions being built within the players, and especially within the fan base, between the Barcelona fan base and the Bayern Munich fan base. I know that this game is not going to be defining our season. Like, we can still lose against Bayern Munich tomorrow, like lose 2-0, maybe 2-1, but still win everything there is to compete for, like the Champions League, La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and all of those competitions. But beating Bayern Munich at their home, that is going to be meaning a lot for these players. It's going to inspire these group of players that they can do the best thing in top European football, which is to win everything. And it's also going to especially tell these group of players like Ronald Araujo, Koundé, Ter Stegen, Ansu Fati, Dembele, Lewandowski, all of these players, that whatever they are working on, their path, it is definitely working, and it's going to bring more confidence towards that path. So these big games are needed, and especially very early in the season. That 2015 Barcelona that we talked about before, they did not win beating low-level clubs. They won the treble. They won the Champions League only because they were beating teams, and these top European teams, very early in the season. We had to face PSG and Ajax in the group stages. We had to face Manchester City in the round of 16. We had to face PSG in the quarterfinals again, Bayern Munich in the semifinals, and then Juventus in the finals. So it was not an easy route, but because of that route, because of that difficult competitive competition that we had to go through, that is what made Barcelona believe that yes, they can beat any team in the world, whether it's in the Champions League or La Liga or the Copa del Rey, which is again the reason why they have won everything. So this game against Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena with Xavi Hernandez as the head coach, it is so necessary. So it is going to be a very difficult match. What we are going to be doing within this video is we are going to be talking about exactly what Xavi Hernandez did say in that press conference, and then we're also going to be talking about the expected lineup and why those players should be placed within that starting 11. But before we go into any of this, I do want to speak about our sponsor for today, and that is going to be the OneFootball app. If you want to find out where I do get all of my information when it comes to team stats, player stats, or like player transfer news, and if you do want to follow a specific team or your favorite player, the OneFootball app is going to be there to cover for you immediately and live on your phone. The only thing you do have to do is scan the QR code that you do see here on the screen, and there's also going to be a link down below that'll take you straight to the app store. You can download the OneFootball app, set exactly who and what you do want to follow, and then you'll be set and done from there. I promise you guys will love it. It's a very informative, entertaining, and fun app, and let me know how it goes in the comment sections down below. But now let's go back into this video. So within these statements that Xavi Hernandez did have, he was talking about the current mentality of these players, and also he became very tactical in a way, and we are going to be talking about the tactical side of things first before anything else. And so this is what Xavi had to say, and I quote, "I already know my starting 11. Tomorrow is a moment of truth. We welcome all the pressure in the world, and I believe in my players. Tomorrow, I will choose the players who are most ready, the ones with the most personality on the field, and who are able to impose our style on the pitch. Experience is not important. There are young players who are more physically fit than other players." And so let's stop right there just for a second, right? Because I want to talk about one thing when he talked about the experience side of this thing. Pep Guardiola did say something within these past 6 months within an interview, and he was talking about how experience is in a way very irrelevant in terms of getting ready for matches. And I do not know if Pep Guardiola did say exactly that, but he did say something like that within that way in an interview. I have no idea. If you guys can find that quote on whatever he did say exactly, please put it on the comment sections down below. But that is basically what Pep Guardiola was saying. He was saying the only reason why experience is not the most necessary and why he believes that it is irrelevant in a way to prepare for matches, it is because every day football evolves. Every day football changes. Every day is going to be a new day, and you have to approach things and games in a much different way. Coaches and players are always learning. And so we look at that statement that Pep Guardiola did have. Xavi Hernandez is taking action based off exactly what Pep Guardiola did say a few months ago. Xavi Hernandez is basically saying, look, I have players within my squad that have played against Bayern before. That does exist. But because football evolves every day, because the game is different every day, we need new players. We need new tactics in order for us to approach this Bayern Munich side differently. So there is a brand new approach that Xavi Hernandez is going to be doing. He's going to be saying, okay, what players can be the most fit tomorrow that can handle the pressure of Bayern Munich? Because this Bayern Munich that we are going to be facing is going to be a much more athletic, dynamic type of Bayern Munich, more athletic and more dynamic than the previous versions of Bayern Munich. And Xavi Hernandez is again saying, how can I accustom my team to face a a Bayern like this, not the team that has played Bayern Munich the most in the past couple of years. So it does make complete sense. This is why I believe that players like Xavi and Alejandro Balde is going to be starting within this game because they can handle the pressure. They are the most athletic and the most dynamic and can compete in those aspects of the game against Bayern Munich. This is also why I believe that Frankie de Jong is also going to be starting, but not as an interior in the midfield, but maybe in the pivot position within the midfield, because he is someone that's able to cope with the press. And let me explain why I am saying that Frankie might be starting in that position, even though I know that it does seem a little nerve-wracking. If you want to be able to cope with the press, the Bayern Munich is going to be given out, and especially when we have to get out from our own defensive third, we need to be able to distribute the ball very quick and very sharp. Whether it's coming from Eric Garcia, Ronald Araujo, or Koundé, or Alejandro Balde, we need to be able to do that. Another solution towards that, to get away from that high press within our own defensive third, our own half, is by dribbling away from that pressure and having that numerical advantage in the middle of the pitch. That is Frankie de Jong, which is why I believe that Frankie de Jong is the perfect player to place within a game like this. Maybe in like other different games, maybe we don't use Frankie de Jong in that position, but for a game like this against Bayern at the Allianz Arena for tomorrow specifically, Frankie de Jong is that perfect player to go up against Bayern Munich to combat that type of press. So as we do continue here, Xavi Hernandez does continue to say, and I quote, "I think both teams will want to keep the ball. They want to press, and we both leave spaces in defense and preserve when we don't get the ball. It's going to be a tough match, and it could get even more intense. Bayern Munich started the season well in the Bundesliga and in the Champions League. Nagelsmann is a great coach. Tactically, he's great, and tomorrow it's going to be a tough match. They press really well, and they are great in many ways." So this is basically Xavi Hernandez stating that, okay, if Bayern Munich are going to be having the ball, if they want to take the ball away from us, which is what I also do want to do on the pitch, we're going to be very intense and we're going to get very physical and take the ball away from them. And so this is screaming for Jules Koundé, Ronald Araujo, and Xavi to be in that starting 11 based off what Xavi Hernandez does want. And then continuing with the mentality side of this whole thing, this is what Xavi Hernandez continued to say. "We have improved a lot since we lost last season to Bayern Munich. We have to be a competitive team, and I think we can win tomorrow and break the history of what is happening here. Looking at the previous matches we played, we had a bad time, but tomorrow we want to compete well. If the players show their true potential, I will be happy. We have to leave the past behind and believe in our ability," which is very true. If you look at the stats, in the past 9 games, Bayern Munich have won 7 times and Barcelona have only won 2 times. And so the players, alongside with Xavi Hernandez and the rest of the coaching staff, they're going to be looking out to erase that history and leave all of that behind and introduce the new Barcelona and what we could expect for the next 4 to 5 years. But now let's move on towards the next phase of this video, and now let's talk about our most possible starting 11. And so we should expect to see Ter Stegen in goal, our defensive line being Alejandro Balde, Eric Garcia, and Ronald Araujo as our center back duo, Jules Koundé as the right back, and then our midfield being Frankie de Jong as our pivot, Xavi and Pedri as our interiors, and our front three being Dembele, Lewandowski, and Rafinha. Now, I know what you guys are going to be saying when it comes to Frankie, but let me talk about him in just a few seconds. Point number 1, Alejandro Balde. Balde will be starting. Yes, he is young, but he is also very fit, and Xavi Hernandez is looking for that. I do not think that Jordi Alba is going to be playing at all based off his current state of mind. I just do not think that he'll be able to handle the pressure, and he's also going to be making a lot of defensive mistakes, mainly because he does get a little nervous in situations like this. And it's going to be a huge statement coming from Xavi Hernandez for him to put out Alonso over Jordi Alba. If that does happen, it really is going to show us and the rest of like this Barcelona club that Jordi Alba is just no longer in the plans under Xavi Hernandez. Point number 2, when it comes to Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong being in a position like this for like the second time this season and against Bayern Munich, I get it, right? I understand why many are going to be saying this is very nerve-wracking. Like, I don't trust having Frankie de Jong in a position like this. Well, here's the thing. Like I've said, Bayern Munich are going to be sitting high. They're going to want to take the ball away from us within our defensive third. I do not really trust Ronald Araujo when it comes to making those short passes to the midfield. I really don't. Like, he's great when it comes to the long balls and putting out those long balls to either Rafinha or Lewandowski or Dembele, but when it comes to making that quick decision to release the ball to either Frankie or Xavi or Pedri or Busquets or whoever is going to be playing in that midfield, I do not really trust Ronald Araujo, because sometimes when I see Araujo get pressed by any other team like either Elche or Cadiz, like when we are in those like moments when he knows that he is running out of time, he just quickly makes a long ball to one of the players, and sometimes the opposition does receive the ball and we lose possession. We do not want to lose possession against Bayern Munich, which is why I would really suggest for Xavi Xavi Hernandez to use Frankie de Jong in a position like that so he can be able to pick up the ball and support Ronald Araujo. Then we give Frankie de Jong the responsibility to make those short passes instead of Ronald Araujo, and also do what he does best, which is to make those runs from the defensive third and into the middle of the pitch and hopefully to the final third. So it is going to be providing that safety net. Point number 3, I do expect to see Dembele on the right wing. He is simply just a much better player on that side compared to the left wing. Yes, I do think that him on the right wing is better than Rafinha on the right wing. I'm not saying that Rafinha is a bad player. It's just that Dembele is way more efficient, more effective. He's literally the best in the world when he plays in that position, the best right winger in the world. And what better way to continue to show that you are the best right winger in the world when you have Gnabry and Sané playing on the exact same pitch, who are also competing to be one of the best wingers in the world. Moving on to point number 4, which is the last one, and that is going to be Lewandowski. All eyes are going to be on Lewandowski. He is going to be expected to score against Bayern Munich. There are so many narratives and stories revolving around Lewandowski facing Bayern Munich, which is going to be a very fascinating thing. Lewandowski is a player that knows the ins and outs. He knows exactly what are the strong points of Bayern, the weak points of Bayern. But in the end, I expect Lewandowski to be the leader for the players that is going to be surrounding him, like leading Pedri and Xavi on knowing what to do, what passes to make, leading Dembele and Rafinha on knowing what type of crosses and when to make those crosses so Lewandowski can be ready inside the box. So it should be very interesting. If we do these things, like I've said in that tactical match preview, and if we have a very strong mentality, we can get past Bayern Munich and gain the 3 points. So that is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona pre-match preview and daily news. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.